with a gorgeous background. Welcome to another edition of the Woodcarving Wednesday show, if you will. It's a pretty loosely formatted place for us just to hang out and talk about woodcarving, talk about maybe the goings-on of your lives. It's kind of a little bit of an excuse to chat with you guys, to connect, to see what's going on. I'm late, of course. What else is new? I don't know, insert some joke about being an artist and that making you late for things. We'll go with that, huh? So, hope all of you are well. I really appreciate the support on the sailor video. I wish I had the carving in here. It's in the shop or the house right now, but I was so pleased with everyone's reaction to that. For those of you that don't know, it was just a little whittled 3-inch tall sailor based on a carving that I did for Woodcarving Illustrated. It was a project that I taught that ended up getting featured on their homepage. So homepage on the front page of their magazine, which I also don't have. Marketing man that I am. I was very honored to be featured in my work, at least I should say, which I have something to add to this in just a moment. But I was featured on the front page of that magazine twice in the span of a year, about the span of a year. And I would not have shared that fact prior to my wife and I talking the other day. Maybe this is false humility on my part, but one of the things that she said is I think she was saying, like, you know, the ability to compartmentalize your business with your personality or your individuality, like your actual human person, is healthy. Because when you're bragging about something that you did for your job, you're not bragging about your individual person. You're sharing about the success of the business, of the thing that you're trying to do. So when I share about the success of my business, that is my carving, I am helping to promote or share an exciting part of my life. Whereas I think I would have been embarrassed before this conversation, and have been embarrassed for the majority of my life to share about the things that are going really well, because I feel like I'm bragging. It still didn't keep me from sharing or bragging in every case. I'm not saying I'm that humble, but it did feel like it was attached to me, and I think it was a good conversation I had with her to kind of say, you know what? You're your business. So if I think really I mean it as an encouragement to folks, in a way, to say that if you're kind of doing your own thing and something goes your way in your business, you know, it's easy to associate your own personal value and identity to your business and feel like you're bragging. But it also helps the other way around, right? It also helps in that when you are not doing well in your business, it's not necessarily a direct reflection on your value, your personal value. Anyway, I digress. I don't know how I got on that. So I am very grateful the video did well, the Whittle video. I appreciate the support on that one. Did not expect it. I've got another project coming out here. I do have this one in-house, so I'll show you that in just a moment. And also a carving that I dug up that's not one of mine, but one that a friend of mine has done. And I wanted to brag on him because it's an amazing little simple carving. Anyway, this is something that you should look forward to. Kind of in the beginner towards intermediate realm, a little bit more advanced in the fact of there being multiple leaves layered. It's a knife. I say it's a knife mostly carving because there is a little bit of e-tool use here. And I believe a gouge as well, but hopefully you can see that. So this one's coming out tomorrow, so you can look forward to that. I had a really fun conversation on the Coffee and Carving show this week with one of actually the main reason that this building exists. My friend John Bertolini. He's a seriously inspiring dude. A seriously inspiring dude. The video quality is low. Oh yeah, it would be low because I'm not connected to the Wi-Fi. Thank you. I'm gonna fix that. So for those of you who have been suffering through really terrible internet connection, are we back? Hopefully the connection's a whole lot better. Thanks for putting up with that little, me forgetting what was going on. All right, so comments. Werewolf Whittler says, hey, very unexpected to see you live. Well, I made a little post on the community. Not everyone saw it, but I just, the community forum saying that I'd be on today. And the goal is to try and do this most Wednesdays. Right? I don't do it every Wednesday because I'm not about to make it another podcast or show, but most Wednesdays that I'm free, or some Wednesdays that I'm free, I'm definitely going to do this because I enjoy it. Carvings and such. Love your videos and carvings. Thanks. I appreciate that. Carvings and such. Much better now. Good. Carvings and such. Better. Yes. Okay. Love the channel, bro. This is from Stormbringer. I love coffee and carving. You inspire me, old chap. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Ed. Hi. Hey, Ed. Great idea about doing the lives. Thank you. Werewolf Whittler. Matt Carves, everybody. Go check out Matt Carves. His work has been cool to see. And I always love seeing your videos, Matt, so keep up the great work. And your short game, for those of you that don't know, I'm not talking about his height. Shorts are the short clips that you see, the minute or less long clips. Your short game has been really great. If you haven't checked out Matt Carve's short videos, those are excellent as well. So anyway, what else? What are you working on now? Werewolf Whittler says. Well, I'm a little embarrassed. Today was one of those days you kind of like to forget, in that I worked on a carving, supposedly a warm-up carving. I'll go grab it while I'm blabbing. It was supposed to be an hour-long thing, but I ended up just going, and it doesn't really look that much better for all the time. Yeah, cheers, Matt. But this was what I worked on today. I spent like 3 hours trying to carve this, and I had a reference photo. I don't know if you can see it clearly, but I really like carving these birch guys. They're super fun. I sincerely think that they're more interesting to look at sometimes because I'm just used to looking at the bark carvings or the basswood carvings. I love the bark, and this is kind of a fun way of presenting them, kind of hiding them. Maybe when it's done, I'll hide them a little bit, if that makes sense. But thank you, Werewolf Whittler. So this is what I did today. Oh gosh, what else? I've got a pile of carvings up there. I'm in the process of, do you have any birches in your area? Yeah, there have been a few stands, growing in our area for some period of time now. As if I know how long. Yeah, there used to be a nice birch stand, silver birch or white birch, paper birch is what it is, near my house here. And so, but these are not from there. These are actually from up north. These pieces, I collected a whole bunch of them. I'll show you. I've got a pile of them here from a gift. Again, this was a gift from somebody who actually planted this tree, if I remember the story correctly. His parents planted this beautiful birch tree. It grew, it was strong and healthy, and unfortunately, it ended up dying. Don't know why it died, but he actually said that he would give me some of the wood in trade, or compensation for a carving. So I carved his mom's favorite flower in that material in order to kind of commemorate that tree that they planted, her and her husband planted. So a very sweet gesture on the part of the commissioner, the gentleman who ordered it. So, okay, so I'll get to the comments here. Please continue to comment. I do always appreciate the likes like the video. So be sure to subscribe. Always helps the YouTube videos. But anyway, my buddy Dave Branch. All right. Dave Branch is a machine. And you'll actually see his work in the podcast, the Coffee and Carving Show. His work is incredibly massive and beautiful. Hair really nice and hard, but it's hopefully you can see how perfect this thing is. The just baby smooth. It's so nice. I have to take the nice tag off, but it's just a really nice tool. I'm afraid to use it though. That's the problem. It's just too nice. But I will. And then he burns a little branch in the bottom. That's his last name. This is Dave Branch. How cool is that? Perfect woodcarver's name. So that's I kind of want to do a video on making a little butter spreader. I think this would be really to make one to this standard of quality would be kind of challenging in a short video, but to do a simpler version or a rougher version, that'd be nice. Werewolf Whittler asks, do you prefer harder or softer types of wood? Yeah, on the whole, if I'm being totally honest, it's like less of a manly answer to say this, but softer woods, with one caveat. Softer woods are easier to carve with one caveat. They have a great grain presence. Actually, I would refer to it as a low grain presence, which means that the hard, soft winter growth rings, right? You get winter is long and cold, and the tree grows slowly in colder climates, right? It's going to be the hard growth ring. And then in the summer, let's just get this out. You're going to see the softer growth rings, the quicker growth. It's actually harder to see on the birch. And that kind of gets to my point. With birch, it's consistent all the way through, right? The summer is not that much worse than the winter, or harder than the winter. So it's even all the way through, and it makes for a better wood. So woods that fit this bill, that are softer, such as basswood, butternut, the wood from cottonwood, some types of maple are soft. I think is it sugar maple that's soft? The alders of the world, aspen. Even mahogany is on the harder side of the soft woods that I would consider softer woods. But it's definitely great to carve, very workable. And then on the harder side, you've got your harder maples, you've got your oaks, you've got your walnut. American walnut is pretty hard. So these are some of the harder woods. Those are also good carving woods. I would not write those off. They're not bad woods to carve. So my preference is any of those woods that have a good match to durability and low grain presence. So that means it's even all the way through. It's not hard, soft. The grain prep pattern is just even cutting, not a lot of resistance. Something happened to the quality again. Is it so? Can you guys are you having issues? I've had some issues with the Wi-Fi today. So I'm not sure if that's is it still happening? Will you let me know in the comments if the connection is an issue? Yeah, well, based on the fact that I'm not seeing any responses, it's probably slow. It's probably not even updating the comments properly. Yes, it's still happening, Celeste says. Seems good to me is what What's Next says. Well, that's good. Hopefully it's a individual problem and not a universal one as a result of my internet. Well, keep me posted, guys, in the comments below if the internet quality is bad. I can always cancel this live stream and go where the internet is better, in the shop or in the house, or maybe even on the porch. Mind you, I'm in England, Celeste says. Well, that shouldn't make a difference. I'm no tech whiz, but that shouldn't make a difference, right? I certainly hope not. So yeah, any things that you want to talk about today? This is the place. This is the place to talk about them. I love to talk to you guys in these live streams. I get more out of this than I do, a lot because just the conversation is fun. I enjoy it. What is the softest wood that will take fine detail on smaller carvings? What is the softest wood that will take? There are a number of types of pine as well. Pine is a broad category. It is very different per, well, let me say this. It's varied, right, between subspecies within pine. So pine is not just one thing. In some cases, it's really great to carve, and other cases, it's bad to carve. So depends on the pine. But pine, types of white pine I've worked with have been really good. So yeah, okay. Folks are saying that the internet connection is not great. Is everyone else having difficulty here? Would love to hear from you if you're having problems, because I don't have a problem starting over with a live stream in the house or something. I mean, I won't be able to reach for carvings quite as easily, but if it makes for a decent live stream as opposed to a bad one, keep those comments coming regarding the internet connection. It's bad. Completely lost your answer. Yes, it keeps interrupting. Okay, we'll do that. We'll move it to the house. I've had problems with internet, and I'll try and resolve this. Thanks, guys. We'll be right back. In fact, I wonder if I can move this while we're still together. You might get to join me on my little journey here, guys. Let me see if I can do that. All right. All right, let's go. An adventure. So this is the shop. I didn't expect to do this, but you're getting a little tour. The shop is a 12 by 16 space. That's my neighbor's house. That's how close I am to my neighbor. It's a perfect little space for me. I love it. That's where we keep the garbage. It's a mess in this yard right now. I'm working on projects constantly. That's Cranberry Lake. And I'm gonna move us into the house. This is a big carving that I'm hoping to finish up here shortly. Oh, I didn't expect to give you a tour of my messy house, but I'll set up here. How about that? All right. Is it better now? Is that helping? Love to hear from you guys. Just shoot me a message to see if that's better. I'm gonna check my router back here. The nice thing about having a small house is everything's in one kind of room for the most part. It's easy to deal with. So I'm just checking the Wi-Fi here, making sure everything's connected. Looking good. Yeah. All right. How are we doing? To say. Yeah, so it looks like my Wi-Fi router was unplugged. So, like partially unplugged. So it should be better now as it starts to connect. So yeah, here's my living room. Oh, you want to see another carving? That's cool. Just showing off all the carvings. My buddy gave... Oh, and then it got worse again, huh? Sorry about that. Let's see. Is it better or is it not better? What a bummer. I'm sorry about this, guys. Yeah, I wish I could. This should help. Hopefully you can see this, but my buddy did this. It's like I love this one. Did a really nice job on that. My buddy Gabe Totsky. Fantastic wood carver. A really cool dude on top of it. So. Okay, one more thing for show and tell while we get our internet right here. Definitely keep commenting below how the status of the... still buffering, huh? What a bummer. Yeah, keep me posted. This is a project that just got posted to the school. It's a whittle. It's a beginner whittle, but just a little rose. This was like super simple project, believe it or not, and it was a lot of fun. So I enjoyed it. And a couple more fun whittles coming at you guys as well. That one, of course, is a part of the school. All right, let's see. All right, well, I've got a comment saying it's buffering bad, and then someone else says, a werewolf whittler says, do you ever carve outside? Like, do you pull out the knife in a cafe while waiting for food? I don't regularly do that. I can't say that I pull out knives in restaurants in general, as a rule. But yeah, carving outside. I was on a camping trip. I started a carving project on that camping trip, and I really I like carving outside, for sure. I won't necessarily have a film of that, but so there's that. Video seems better now, is what folks are saying. Thank you, Werewolf Whittler. Softest wood. Okay, so I'll re-answer that question because I'm not sure that it came through with the connection before, but the softest wood for fine detail on a small carving, again, basswood, one of the more common ones. Butternut, you're going to have cottonwood bark is one of those materials. It's not available to everyone, but it's extremely nice to carve if you can get your hands on it. Good, I'm glad the video is more stable. Yeah, I think it was the router. It didn't look like it was fully plugged in, so this should be a lot better. And so the question was softest woods. The softest I can think of off the top of my head, it probably is going to be something like a cypress knot or a cypress knee rather, cottonwood. Basswood's pretty soft. There are some woods in the pine family that are very soft as well, that can hold detail very well. Any suggestions which bark is nice to carve besides cottonwood? I've heard of people carving willow bark, and I've done it some years ago, but I wouldn't say that I recommend it, just because it's a little bit, at least the bark I've carved is a little bit less capable of holding detail. So, to each their own. If you find it carves well, that's great. And I've also heard of was it black locust bark? There were some other barks that have been suggested to me about some time ago, but I haven't the experience. Best woods for fine details can't be too soft like bark. Yeah. If it's really small, bark is not going to be necessarily ideal unless you're really familiar with it. Like, I can get pretty fine detail in small pieces of bark, but it's going to be really difficult for the beginner or intermediate carver. Need to get non-Michigan basswood. Laugh out loud. It's like carving marble. I have inherited tons. And I mean, just like a U-Haul trailer full of basswood, and it's all northern Michigan basswood. And yeah, it feels like I'm carving maple. So hey, I'm with you. I'm right there with you, 22. We're in the same boat here with that hard Michigan basswood. And I think it just comes down to the fact that woods, the same species of wood grown in a warmer climate, if you think about it, it's going to grow more quickly. It's going to grow in such a way to make it less dense and a little bit more porous. It's going to be just a little easier to carve. And so the northern, colder climates tend to produce harder wearing woods, but that are not necessarily easier to carve, usually the opposite. Yeah, cottonwood is not available in Germany. Yeah, I can't imagine it being, easy to find. I'm not sure about that. Carving Netsuke. Am I saying it right? Netsuke? Yeah, I've looked into it a little since it was mentioned in the comments below. I did a goldfish that apparently I accidentally did Netsuke carving, which is this very beautiful, ultra tiny, handheld kind of Japanese style of carving. Netsuke, thank you. Netsuke. That is, these were small carvings that were held in special pouches or satchels or pockets, and were carried around almost like fashion statements. And I don't know if it's ancient Japan or what, but it's definitely not in the modern era. I mean, unless there's some resurgence that I'm unaware of. But Netsuke, thank you. I mean, I'm the guy who reads a word and says it wrong for 20 years because people are too embarrassed to correct me. That's part of being homeschooled. So I do appreciate you correcting me there. Netsuke. Japanese clothing back then had no belts. Japanese clothing back then had no belts. Okay, fun fact. Thanks for sharing. All right, dinosaurs mostly. Oh, were they carved dinosaurs? Netsuke? Not aware. I've seen little Buddhas and all kinds of things, little dragons and various types of carvings done in Netsuke, these little wooden figures. I think it's a cool idea for a video category. I also like the way you pronounce, oh boy, I'm not even going to say the word. Niche? Is it niche or niche? Hey, be nice. This is supposed to be uplifting. All right, well, speaking of learning words from books and not actually figuring out how to pronounce them, here's a good book. Oh, no pockets is what you meant. Sheepdog meant that there weren't pockets. Yeah, so it wouldn't have been pockets. It would have been a satchel. There you go. I made that pocket part up. If Sheepdog is right. Yeah, so this is a great book. It's called The Creative Act by Rick Rubin. I think it's relevant. If you like to carve, why not try to explore your creative side? And this is a great book, a very encouraging book on creative thinking and just having a beginner's mind, right? Just chilling out and really not going into making something with too many preconceived ideas. Just chilling out, having fun. That's what I'm learning. It's like just to have a childlike attitude in my approach to carving, because it really doesn't benefit you that much to be on edge or to put all this pressure on yourself. And that's what I tend to do when I'm carving. It's like I heard Mike Tyson say that the best fighters were the most relaxed fighters. And I think there's something to that in art and carving and craft as well. It should be relaxing. So Netsuke is usually in hardwoods or previously in ivory. That makes sense. I have seen them done in ivory. Or I keep saying Netsuke, right? I learned a bad habit. Netsuke. I loved your Rudolph. Thank you, 22. So cute, she says. I'm assuming it's a she. Oh yeah, that was that was a pain in the butt. A little carving. Werewolf Whittler asks, do you have any tips on how to concentrate on reading? I struggle with it so much. Oh yeah, I love that question because if you know me, you know I can struggle to do one thing for very long. I like the timed challenges for the carvings because they, I get the comments, people saying, wood carving is not, it's not like a timed sport. It's not like a thing to be rushed, but that's not why I do it. I do it because I need to have accountability, and the time frame helps to keep me focused. Really, as far as reading goes, I'll do is I'll just pick the book up if I'm eating, I'll just intentionally put my phone down and read a page or two. And if that isn't enough to like draw me into the process of reading, I just set it down. And I'll pick it up again, maybe over dinner, any meal. And then at night, right before I go to bed, I'll pick the book up and read. And that just gets my mind cranking. Also vacation time. If I have lots of downtime, if I get really tired, I'm often gonna go up into my my hotel room or whatever and just sit down for a half hour or 20 minutes. The trick is I'm not reading for long lengths of time. I'm reading for short little bursts. And maybe that's just a testament to how squirrel-brained that we're all becoming. But I tend to read in short bursts. So that's my answer to that question. Find books that you like. Don't force yourself to read a book you don't like. Jam 44mm, Dockyard. I'm not sure what that means, and if you can rephrase that question. Sheepdog, toggle-like pieces used to attach a medicine box, pipe, tobacco, pouch, sash to Japanese men's dress during the Tokugawa period. I'm messing that up for sure. 1603 to 1868. Netskis were an indispensable item of dress. That is very cool. So it could be something you'd use to attach a medicine box, pipe, or tobacco pouch to the sash of a Japanese men's dress. It was something to connect a sash. So it was actually a piece of, I see. So I misunderstood what they were for, or I read a bad article. That makes sense. What's your best method for sharpening very small V-tools? The trick is not to go too aggressively into stock removal. I would not go much higher than, or rather much more grittier than 220. So I wouldn't go to a 100, 100. I wouldn't go anything below like a 220 when I'm shaping a really small, say I'm sharpening like a 2mm, like a 1/16 of an inch V-tool. I'm not going to use aggressive sandpapers. If I'm using sandpaper at all, the same thing can be said for a stone. Do not use too aggressive a stone on a small V-tool. You're going to really make things hard for yourself. It's just hard to control when you're working with such a small piece of material. So at least that's my thought on it. JMA, laugh out loud. What does JMA mean? I don't know this, as if this is internet talk. Try Dockyard. Again, I'm not sure what's happening there. I do have Dockyard. I like Dockyard okay. If you're using soft woods, it's great, but you don't want to whack the back of a Dockyard tool. They're tiny little wooden handles. You're going to pop the tang right out of that thing. So I tend to fall asleep when I read books as Matt carves. Yeah, that's why I tend to do it before bed. It puts me to sleep as well, so yeah. I like this. I'll read a little passage out here real quick because I think this is a great little book. And this particular part spoke to me this morning when I was kind of struggling with getting angry about a carving project. This person says here, the writer, Rick Rubin, Beginner's mind is starting from a pure childlike place of not knowing, living in the moment with as few fixed beliefs as possible, seeing things for what they are as presented, tuning into what enlivens us in the moment instead of what we think will work, and making our decisions accordingly. Any preconceived ideas and accepted conventions limit what's possible. So it's just a helpful thing once you've learned a lot of rules about art or carving, or specifically talking about the anatomy of the face. You learn all these rules, and sometimes it's really good to just approach a carving without worrying too much about all that. It's actually funny. I think it's why when I teach carving, it's often harder for me to make a really great carving in a wood carving lesson. And I think it has to do with that left right brain toggle issue. Like when you're teaching, you're often going into that left brain, like rational part of the mind, and you're thinking to yourself, how might I best deconstruct this for people to understand? And it's a left brain activity. And the right brain is ultimately responsible for the removing of the stock, the material. I've made a decision, now I'm going to make the next step. The left brain is what kind of ultimately moves the project forward in my mind in many ways. And so it does kind of slow things down when you're teaching, and it also can affect the outcome, Let's see, what's your most useful gouge? Let me back up here, there's a lot of comments. The number 47 4mm V tool that you often use, I've been unable to find this tool. Any suggestions? Yeah, any 60-degree V tool. It can be a 3mm. Honestly, the 3mm is a great size as well. So 60-degree V tool. Each company kind of goes by their own number system, but I think most should give you the degree angle of the V tool. So that's a good angle. Maddie says, hey Alec, love your work. I'm a beginner and mostly toys for my children. What's the best, safest way to finish seal so they'll last for a long time? What a cool question. And how cool, Maddie, that you're making kids toys for your kids. I have thought about that, and I'm excited about doing that for my own kids one day. So kudos to you for beating me to it. Having kids in addition too. Yeah, it's kind of tough because the finishes that I would recommend that are safest might not be necessarily the most durable. The first thing that comes to mind is mineral oil. Because you can consume mineral oil, it's probably one of your best choices. Now, that being said, you are sacrificing the durability of the finish. But if you're using a hard wood, it should not be a huge issue to begin with, the durability of the finish. But yeah, if you guys have any comments or thoughts on that, I'd love to hear what anyone else has to say as well. That's just my thought off the cuff. Do you draw? Someone says. Does it help you with carving, or just carving is enough for you? Yeah, I do. I do tend to draw. If I'm sitting in church, or maybe I'm trying to come up with an idea for a project, for a carving, it's actually become a necessity. If you want to be an artist as a profession, you do have to kind of learn how to draw to give someone your idea. And so, yeah, I do draw, but I don't draw anywhere near as much as I carve. It's kind of like Tommy Emmanuel says when it comes to playing guitar. If you want to learn guitar, learn songs and play guitar. You don't need all these like finger stretching, exercise deals that they have with the springs in them. Just build your hand strength through playing guitar. So yeah, if you want to be good at carving, just carve. Although I do believe it's not a perfect example, because I think drawing is a huge, it's really nice to be able to flesh out the design without having to do any stock removal. It's a kind of a nice thing to do before a carving. What's your most useful gouge sizes? If I had to pick 4 tools to do a life-size face. A life-size face, I would pick probably a flattish gouge, like a wide, like a 1-inch wide, or so, number like 3, so fairly flat curve. I would then pick like a 6 millimeter. What would that be? Gosh, I don't know my conversions. A 1/4 inch or something. You guys can correct me. Number 9 to a Vayner. So anywhere in that realm of size. A Vayner is just a 9 with taller edges. So anything in that range. So we got the 3 millimeter 1 inch. You've got the 1/4 inch 6 millimeter. I would probably put in there either a skew or a knife of some kind. Then I would, or a V-tool. So any of those are actually, believe it or not, those could be interchangeable. So we've got 3 tools there. And what would be the 4th tool? Probably a Vayner, probably like a 3 mil Vayner. Yeah, a 3 mil Vayner would probably be best. If I could only pick 4, that's what it would be. Flex Cut has a wooden strop form made for sharpening smaller tools. No stone, just toning paste. Yeah, no doubt. If you're trying to sharpen, that's a great thing to bring up. If you're really trying to sharpen a small V-tool, the question was, what should you do to sharpen a very, very small V-tool? If the tool is not damaged in any way, you should be able to strop it. You shouldn't really need to have to use, a 220 grit or a 400 grit or whatever, if it's in decent shape. If you drop the tool, if it's severely damaged or dull, then or misshapen, then you will need to grind with the 220 grit sandpaper or stone. But yeah, and then to get the inside bevel of the tool, I have just a wooden block that spins slowly. I have it. You could attach it to a drill. I have mine attached to a slow spinning a grinder for it's actually a whetstone from Harbor Freight, which is like our cheap Chinese tool store in the States. I like to learn right-handed because it's too hard to mirror it, and all online carvers are right-handed. Oh, so I'm assuming that Doc, the commentator, is left-handed and he had to learn right to learn from carvers. How funny is that? Good on you. That's impressive. No problem, Maddie. I've worn out the flex drop after many years. Yeah, so you can actually just build yourself a really simple flex, a strop like the Flex Cut strop by carving into a soft block of pine. You can actually carve the inside profile out on a block and then use that to strop your tools. Yep. Yeah, you shouldn't really need to use anything more aggressive than a strop if you're maintaining your tools regularly. So I do suggest that people who are carving on the regular strop on the regular. So you might even get your strop out, your leather strop out or your stropping tool once, twice, 2, 3+ times per carving. Especially if you're carving a found wood, like bark, where you're getting the sediment deposit. That's going to dull your tools a lot more quickly. So I definitely tend to do that, strop more often. Yeah, no problem. Well, guys, I don't want to stretch this out any longer than to bore you guys. If you have any other thoughts or questions. I'm curious. I'm trying to think of other wood finishes that would harden, that would be child safe. I wouldn't want to put like a lacquer or any like shellac or even, I don't even know if I'd want to put a poly on a kid's toy. Because that would, that could flake off. That would build up on the surface, all those finishes, and then it could flake off if the kid's chewing on it. I wouldn't feel good about it. Hey, Janie. Amazon has one. Says Werfly. The Japanese make a stone form that Flex Cut imitated. Oh, that's cool. Werfly, are you Japanese? Or try Goods Japan. Yeah. Any other suggestions? I read some can be dangerous. Yeah. Okay, Werfly is not Japanese. Just curious. Or Werfly, I keep saying where. Yeah, I wouldn't trust. I would not trust a lot of finishes. I wouldn't even personally, I would not even try using poly if it was my kid. But I would be really cautious if I had kids and was making kids toys, because if they're related to me, they're gonna be putting that thing in their mouth. You know? Yeah, beeswax. That's a good one. What's next? It's a great idea. That one popped in my head too. There are a combination, like butcher's block oil. Sometimes that they'll have a product that, has beeswax and mineral oil combined. That's a cool idea. Osmo does a food grade oil. Lots of spoon carvers use it. It's expensive but goes a long way. So it's OSMO. So there you go, Maddie. Thank you guys. I appreciate you sharing your wisdom, your carving wisdom. Any other questions? You know what would be fun? I wish we could have call-ins. Like people calling in like a radio show, and I could answer your questions live. That'd be fun. Japan has an ancient history of wood carving. Most of us Westerners have no exposure to it. Yeah, that's a good... I'm sure there's a lot of... that's something that's worth deep diving into, no doubt. Great, thank you, team. Yes, thank you, team. I appreciate you guys. I always appreciate the support. The community on the group here on my channel has been on the whole really, really cool. I enjoy it. So I appreciate you guys showing up. All right, so here's the sailor. A lot of folks were really super cool and very responsive to this one, so I do appreciate it. This message is held for review. Can I see it? Can I see it? Oh, there's a swear in there, that's why. I use walnut oil on my spoons, burnish it too, and add walnut. And it's hard as crap. There you go, walnut oil. Not sure about that, but that sounds pretty good. This is basswood. So this was the whittle project I released, and you folks turned up. You watched it, you shared it. I appreciate it, so thanks. Thank you, Carol. Yeah, I enjoyed making that. Kind of makes me, I'm kind of on a roll of adapting the larger carvings that I do to the smaller kind of handheld forms, and they're fun. I'm liking it so far. It seems like you guys are enjoying it, so. Yeah. Thanks, Werewolf Whittler. I appreciate it. What will be your next video project? I'm assuming you're talking about YouTube. For YouTube, I mentioned before that I'm doing, I've got a Green Man coming up. I showed it earlier. It's in the shop now, but it's a little handheld, the first ever little handheld Green Man that I've done. So excited about that one. I hope that you guys like it. So, do you work at carving for your living, says Werfly. Yes, I do. That's what pays the bills. Oh, you're good. What's next? You're totally good. Yes, I do carving for a living, indeed. So the Green Man's coming up next. This one's coming up on the school. Actually, just released it. It's a little flower whittle, pretty straightforward little project, super cute. And what else is coming up on the school? Goodness, we just did another pro. We're doing a mountain man with a wolf cap going over his head for the school as well. I'm very excited about that. We're going to finish filming tomorrow. Doc in Paradise says, I love the small projects because wood is expensive, so thank you very much for doing them. I agree. And everyone agrees. Book update. The book, it's coming. It's coming. Actually, this evening's project, my wife is away. And tonight I go into the shop to write. So I'll probably write, I'll probably knock out a page. That's a goal at least. Hopefully more, but I'm trying to set my expectations low. And actually, doing a drawing for a project. So I decided on the main project for the book, and very, very happy that they approved it. So it's coming along. I'm doing the writing portions right now. I took a trip to Nashville with my wife. I saw Taylor Swift, and I did indeed write when I was gone, which is good. So hard copy. Is the book hard copy? It's a great question. I think not. I think it's a soft cover. 100 and some odd pages. Yeah, but thanks for asking, Watts. That's a generous question. The lighthouse was very inspiring, someone says here. Looking forward to seeing the rose. Thanks, Alex. See you. Yep. So just to be clear, the rose is going up on my carving school, which I'll post in the description below. Not on YouTube. So I hope that doesn't. Hope you were clear on that to begin with and not let down. Oh yes, is the did a little purple mushroom simple beginner project as well that I think might show up on YouTube. That one's being edited right now by Young Sam, a video editor. Oh, another bit of news that's kind of fun is a new editor, a new video guy on the team for Fundamentals of Woodcarving. For the time being, is my childhood friend Matt, and Matt is he's worked in film. He's actually a pro, and so I'm excited for him to be helping us out. He's going to be using my equipment because he's actually since left. He's no longer doing film, and so it's kind of his getting back into it a little bit, but just as a favor to help me out. And so appreciate that, guys. Appreciate the likes. Appreciate the love. It does help the video, the subscribes, all that stuff. I do always appreciate the time and the love, and I do. It is funny when you're in your 20s, the world screams at you to just like define yourself, promote yourself, do all this stuff, and the older I get, the more I just like I get tired of that, and I do like this live stream stuff because it's like a little community and it's super fun, and ultimately that's what I want. I want to have friends who I can call on to talk to and interview and chat with, and just learn from them. So I appreciate learning from you guys, and I sincerely do. I want to use the things that I get from doing this stuff to help folks out in the carving community, and just to help folks out outside the carving community as well. So I think that's what it's all about. Yeah, Matt says have a great week. Doc, I am working on a chicken driving a race car. Made of a 4-inch diameter willow branch. I just need to drill through for the axles. That's awesome. That's cool. It's kind of like a play on Doug's, I don't know if you saw Doc in Paradise, Doug Linker's beaver car. That was cool. I enjoyed watching that. All right. Thanks again, guys. Look forward to seeing you. Look for me tomorrow with the Green Man carving, and then look for me on Friday with my good buddy John Bertolini and his wife Jackie. Look forward to seeing you guys then. And I appreciate you guys, for real. Thanks again.